Hi friends, how are you? It is it has been a while since I have posted a video on my YouTube. So I'm recording this specifically for my YouTube. Um I post to my YouTube almost daily, but those are private client readings, but it's been a while since I have posted a public reading or message or conversation to you guys. So here I am. I hope you're all doing well. It is November 2025. Craziness. I was saying the other day, this has simultaneously been the fastest and the longest year ever. Wild energy, big, huge, collective and personal things going down. If you haven't felt or witnessed or been a part of or impacted by some sort of giant change this year, then uh, are you even living here? Are you even living on this planet? Do you know what I'm saying? I don't have any makeup on today. I haven't done my hair. I don't know why I feel the need to drop that caveat, but I did. Here I am. I wanted to talk about, I get asked quite often about how did I get started? When did I know I was a psychic? How did I get started? Who inspired me? That kind of thing. And I thought now would be a good time to talk about that. I've been really feeling some kind of way about the spiritual community lately. It's been looking and feeling extremely performative to me, and it's both giving me the ick and also making me question. Like, I question out loud. My friend and I were just talking about this the other day. Like, do I even have a place in this community? And if I'm feeling this way, I know that there are other people just like me that are feeling this way. So, of course, if you know anything about me, you know, I've also learned since our last catch up that I am on the autism spectrum. No surprise if you know me. And I also have ADHD. So I'm ADHD, as it's commonly referred to. And, you know, I've been ruminating about this, and thoughts and words and things have been swirling around my brain, wondering what is the best way for me to talk about this stuff and how I feel and whatever. And then it just came to me, you know what, why not start at the beginning? And like I said, I get asked quite often, how did I start? Did I always know I was psychic? You know, take us back, that kind of thing. And I'm 54, so that goes back a long ways. I didn't always have the word psychic or medium as it applies to me, but I did always know that I was really drawn to those things. I was drawn to the paranormal. I was drawn to ghosts and extraterrestrials and magic and witchy things. I was always drawn to those things. I loved those stories. I didn't like horror movies. Let's not confuse Hollywood's version of these things with real life versions of these things, okay? Hollywood's version of psychic and medium is made up. It is that way to shock you on purpose. It's for the shock value. And that's not how it is in real life. I used to be plagued by what I thought were nightmares. And they would stay with me throughout the day. Footsteps. I would always hear footsteps. Even when I was at school, I would hear footsteps, people walking around me, but there was no one there. And I thought then that it was my bad dreams. And I would have horrible bad dreams that I would wake up in the night and just be paralyzed from and inconsolable from. But now that I know what I know, I believe that was my mediumship. I believe I was hearing spirit. And so I guess that started, when I was a young girl, when I was, oh my gosh, elementary school. So single digits in age. So that's a long time ago. And I would also have predictive dreams about large world events. And that was also when I was younger. But again, I didn't have the words for those things. I didn't have the words psychic or medium, or why would I? I'm just a little girl who has crazy dreams, coincidental dreams and bad dreams that she can't shake during the day, right? I would say it wasn't until, my 20s, I discovered an amazing woman named Sylvia Browne. I had seen her probably on Donahue or Montel or something, and I was immediately drawn to her. I just felt a connection to her, and I don't know what, I didn't know what. In my mind, it was like, wow, that's fascinating. I want to learn as much about what she has to say as possible. And I remember reading her first book. I think it's called Adventures of a Psychic. And it's where she talked about, discovering her abilities and her spirit guide, Francine, meeting her and all these things. And here's a woman who wasn't all woo-woo and weird and performative and flaky. You know what I mean? She smoked, she drank, she swore. And, back then I did all those things too. And I still didn't know that I was psychic or a medium, but I very much believed and was drawn to it. And Sylvia Browne almost like gave me permission to like explore it or lean into it or not dismiss it. I also used to go to church when I was younger. I was never baptized or christened into any religion, so I'm a true heathen. But I always have had a relationship with a higher power. I call them God. And I didn't know how to reconcile that with my love of supernatural. How could I reconcile the two? How could they coexist? And I also remember in Sylvia Browne's book, I don't know if it was her first book or a different one. Soph. Sorry, my dog is licking the floor and it's weird. She talked about prayer and how she did it. And I had never heard anyone talk to God or source or spirit like that. And it all of a sudden felt so accessible to me. Like this is the path for me. This is okay. Like I'm not going to be the one blazing this trail. Here's this woman who I've seen on TV with these amazing abilities, and she still has a relationship with God, and she talks to him like they're long lost friends. It's not all thou and thine and blah, blah, blah. And also with you, you know, all that kind of stuff. It was real words and like talking to a friend. And that resonated with me. So that was in my 20s. And I think I've read all of her books. If I didn't buy them, I would go to the library and check them out and devour them. I would always watch her on TV whenever I could. And I just really related to her. And I kind of forgot about her, you know, and I shouldn't say I forgot about her. I forgot that door that she opened for me. And so the last few months or longer, could have been a couple of years, as I've watched the spiritual community grow by leaps and bounds, like I said, I've questioned my place in it. I have wondered, what am I doing? Like it all feels so performative and aesthetic and curated. And there's buzzwords and phrases, and some of them are so judgmental, and I just don't know where I fit in to any of that. And Spirit, or maybe Sylvia herself, reminded me of her this morning when I got up and said, remember Sylvia? She wasn't like anybody else either. And, you know, my whole shtick in every area of my life is to share my story so that other people who may be going through the similar things don't feel like they're alone, don't feel like they don't fit in, don't feel like there's not a place for them. So here I am. And to go back to how I started really leaning into this, you know, it was Sylvia Browne her voice that I heard in my ear, you know, just be yourself. Like, just have a conversation with Spirit. You don't need all the trimmings and trappings. You can just be yourself. And so that's what I started doing. I started allowing myself to really feel into my psychic abilities, my intuitive healing abilities, my mediumship. Although that one took more time because, like I said, Hollywood had left a big imprint on me, and I was really quite afraid to lean into that. So it took a while to get over that fear. And so I just started listening to the nudges, listening to my intuition, leaning into exploring things. If I got a little intuitive hit about something, maybe meditating and being like, okay, what do you mean by that? And opening myself up to receiving more information and trusting what I was receiving, trusting what I was feeling, trusting what I knew in my heart. And I started doing that when my daughters were born. I just would start doing that. And I had a safe circle of friends that I would let in on, hey, by the way, I think I can do this. Excuse me, everyone who knew me knew that I always believed. But not everyone knew that I had these abilities. And I guess it was in my 40s, my 30s and 40s, I really started leaning into them. And when my husband left, I had the freedom to fully lean in and explore my abilities. And that's what I did. I was 41. I was 41 when my husband left. And I gave myself permission to fully lean into and explore, test the limits of my abilities. And here I am. So that's a roundabout, very wordy explanation of how I started. I started at birth, I guess. And then Sylvia Browne kind of struck a chord with me. I saw myself in her. She gave me permission to have a relationship with God and with Spirit that I didn't see anybody else doing or having. And that just felt right to me. And then, you go through different phases in life where, you don't pay attention to it. It goes to the back burner. And I think that's normal because, for example, your 20s or your hormonal teenagers, those are really intense years and you've got a lot of stuff going on, enough going on that you don't need to also try and navigate your psychic abilities. And so it would ebb and flow throughout my formative years of my life. And yeah, once I had the freedom to fully lean into it, I did. And I haven't looked back. And now I'm at a different place, wondering where my place in all of this is. But I'll save that for another conversation, even though I did touch a bit on it here. But that's me. That's me and my abilities. That's how I started. So now you know. If any of this felt like it resonated with you, if you see yourself in anything that I said, or you're just glad to know this little bit of my history, please let me know. I love when you guys interact with me. So put it in the comments below. Share this video with a friend who you think would also get something out of it. Make sure you're subscribed to my channel. Help me reach as many people. That's my whole goal in my life, is I never want anyone else to feel like they don't have a place or that they're alone, that they don't have someone who gets it. Because I've been there. I've felt like that. And it's not fun. And so if I can make at least one person feel like, hey, like I didn't know somebody else felt like that, then mission accomplished. But I can only do that with your help. I can only do that when you share. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. I'm going to do more of these. You know me, I love to talk. And I'm going to do more of these, more conversations. I'm going to share more about my autism journey and that crazy ride, because I know there's a lot of us who have gone undiagnosed for a very long time. and it's life-changing. Anyways, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Love you, Kay. Bye.